I'm Koustav, and today I will give you a demo class about cells. So, what are cells? Cells are essentially most important things in our life. Cells basically building blocks of living organisms. So, what cells do? What cell helps us in moving our heretical information from our generation to the next generation. Cells helps us to transport nutrients throughout our body. Cells helps us to uh, break down foods and produce energy and so more things. So basically, cells are two types. One is a eukaryotic cell, and another is a prokaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cells are the older cells which don't have the nucleus, or it's better to say which doesn't have the organized nucleus, whereas the eukaryotic cell has the nucleus. So what a nucleus is basically the brain of the cells, which helps them to reproduce, which helps them to pass on the genetic information to from a cell to the next cell. So here it is the anatomy of the cell, where we will learn about the parts of cells. So here we can see the picture. Here essentially cells are made up of two things. We can separate cells into two things. One is the outer layer of the cell, which is known as the plasma membrane, and another part is the rest of the part except the plasma membrane is known as the protoplasm. So what plasma membrane do is plasma membrane essentially separate the cells from another cell. It is a semi-permeable membrane. It's allowed transport of some particular things from outside to inside of the cell and inside to out of the cells, and restricts some of the things. And it is a fluid-like structure. It gives a dynamic shape to the cell, and the rest of the protoplasm can be divided in cytoplasm, nucleus, and cell organelles. The cytoplasm is essentially the fluid part of the protoplasm. The nucleus, as I mentioned earlier, is known as the brain of the cell. It contains the genetic information of the cell and uh, helps us to synthesize those informations. The most important function like replication happens in the nucleus. Next is endoplasmic reticulum, which is a pipeline which helps us to process the metabolic, which helps us in the metabolic process. Next is Golgi apparatus. It is basically a delivery system. It tags vesicles and proteins to help them to get carried away in the correct destination. Centrosome is the anchor of the cell, which helps us to form the microtubules, which gives the cell mobility. Mitochondria is a powerhouse of the cell. It gives us the energy to do work. The mitochondria basically synthesize ATP from carbohydrates and a bit of lipid. This ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is also known as the coin, energy coin. The ribosome helps us to translate RNA into protein. We know protein is a very important part of our system. Lysosome is basically the stomach, which digests the proteins and other things. Peroxisome helps us to neutralize the free radicals. Cytoskeleton gives us the whole structure of the cells, and vacuole is like a huge storage unit of our cells. In the animal cells, it is a picture of animal cell. In animal cells, the vacuole is slightly smaller, and in the plant cells, the vacuoles are way larger in shape. In the cell division, another very important function of cells, in which cells grow. Cell division is a process by which parent cells divide into two or more daughter cells. Basically, it passes on the genetic information. In this step, the genetic information is passed on the daughter cells from the parent cells. So this cell division is basically a two types. One is mitosis, which happens in our body cells, and another is meiosis, which happens in our reproductive cells. In meiosis, the number of chromosome is same in the daughter cells and the mother cells, but in mitosis, the number of cells, now the number of chromosomes are same in a mother cell and the daughter cell, and the meiosis, the number of chromosomes reduces into half. That's why this process is known as reduction division. It helps, the meiosis helps to form gametes. So it is a brief lecture on cells. I hope you like it. And so in this lecture, we have learned about the cells. We have learned about the types of cells, the organelles of cells, and a very brief of cell division. I hope you will like it. Thank you for now and goodbye.